A science terrific day, everyone. Together, we'll explore, discover, and find answer to the mysteries of the world through science. Today, we'll discuss about the moon, different phases of the moon, and beliefs and practices. Are you excited? Let's go! Join me. Let's enter the kingdom where fun and exciting experiences are about to happen.
I am Shana Rose Endra.
And I'm Joyce Kabawatan Aquino from BE Ed 2B.
Before we proceed to our lesson, here are some objectives that the students will be able to 1. Discuss basic facts about the moon. 2. Explain the positioning of the Earth, Moon, and Sun on each phases. 3. Recognize the phases of the moon. And here are some essential questions. 1. What are the different phases of the moon? 2. Why is moon important? 3. How many phases of the moon?
Have you ever seen the moon on a clear night sky? If you observe the moon carefully, you would have seen that it doesn't look the same on all nights. On some nights, the moon is big and round, and other nights, it is a thin slice of light in the sky. Have you ever wondered why the moon looks different every night? You will be surprised to know that the way our moon looks to us is not as much about the moon as it is about the sun and the earth. It is strange, isn't it? Let's understand how the moon always has a spherical shape like a basketball, but it doesn't always look that way to us. We always see exactly half of the moon. Some of the time, the half is lit by the sun, and we see it at other times. It isn't lit by the sun at all, and we can see it most of the time. The part of the moon that we see is partially lit by the sun and partially shadowed. The moon looks different to us depending on where it is in orbit. Remember, the moon revolves around the Earth once every 29 days, in other words, once a month. As the moon moves around our Earth, we see a different part of it lit by the sun. When the moon is on one side of the Earth and the sun is on other, we see one half of the moon that is bright with sunlight. This moon is called the full moon because we see a full round circle. Each of the position of the moon in orbit has a name. Let's look at what they are. When less than half of the moon is lit by the sun, it is called a crescent. When more than half of the moon is lit by the sun, it is called a gibbous. Waxing gibbous indicates the part of the moon that is lit and growing, whereas waning gibbous is the part of the moon that is lit and shrinking. Based on what we just learned, let's look at the different phases of the moon. There are 8 phases in all. We'll now explore each phase of the moon. The lunar cycle begins with the new moon's phase. When the moon is not visible from the Earth, this is because the half of the moon that faces away from the Earth is lit, and we only see the dark half. During the waxing crescent phase, we begin to see a very small part of the moon lit by the sun, but most of it is still shadowed. In the first quarter phase, only one half of the moon is visible from the Earth. This is because the right half of the moon appears lit and the left side of the moon is still shadowed. In the waxing gibbous phase, more than half of the moon appears lit by the sun. When you see a waxing gibbous moon, you know that a full moon is just a few days out. During the full moon phase, the moon is on one side of the Earth, and the sun is on the other. The sun illuminates the half of the moon that faces the Earth directly, and the moon looks like a full round circle. In the waning gibbous phase, the other half of the moon is lit by the sun. and we see it looking like a little less than a whole circle. The waning gibbous moon looks like it is shrinking, doesn't it? But it's not. In the third quarter phase, the left half of the moon appears lit, and the right side of the moon appears dark. During the waning crescent phase, the moon looks like a crescent. This moon signals the beginning of a new cycle and means that you will see the new moon in a few days.
I am Shana Rose and Ralph. Did you hear your friend talking about myths are from pieces of rugs and paper placed in the dark corners? Those stories of our friends are false. Today, this false belief has been recorded by science. Because science, we can now understand the origin of the mouse. False belief become part of our rich and colorful life. It is how we explain things that we happen to us in our daily life. With or without the aid of science, we believe it. We explain things in our own mythical way. However, some of these are false. It made us confused, so this lesson will give scientific explanation of some false belief about the moon. This will let you realize the truth about the moon. The natural phenomena scientifically, instead of accepting folklore as an explanation, it is true that it's better to plant when there is full moon. Do you know why? According to our elders, it is the best to plant during full moon. Why? It is because the moon spirit is out in the field to help the farmer have a bountiful harvest. What they do not know is that there is a scientific explanation on why it is the best plant during full moon. The movement of the moon affects the rise and fall of ocean's tides. The movement affects the large body of water. At the same time, it affects the small bodies of water. This includes the water within living things like crops and plants. Some farmers practice moon planting. This method helps the farmer choose the correct phase of the moon in which to plant, weed, cultivate, and harvest their crops. During full moon, the combines gravitational pull of the moon, and that's why planting crops during a full moon enhances gravitational pull. Some farmers believe that the moon's spirit helped them. They have a bountiful harvest. They do not know that they are doing a very scientific way of planting. Tides are the daily or twice daily rise and fall of the ocean. Tides are caused by the gravitational pull of the moon and the sun in the ocean. The highest tides are called spring tide. Spring tide happens when the earth, sun, and the moon are lined up in a row. This happens every 2 weeks during new moon or full moon. The increased effect the sun's gravity on earth causes the ocean to be larger than usual. Smaller tides are called neap tides. Neap tide happen when the earth, sun, and moon form a right angle. This causes the sun and the moon to pull the water into two different directions. Neap tides happen when during first quarter or third quarter moon.